What's up, everybody? Welcome into the NBA version of a player pool assembled for Draftkings. That's what we're going to discuss in this video today. We'll come back and do FanDuel another time. I get a lot of requests back and forth from Draftkings to FanDuel, so I'm going to try and alternate a little bit. Bear in mind, I play most of my stuff over on FanDuel still. I'm contemplating coming over here because I think the drop score is pure shit, but I'm also a masochist and I enjoy challenges. So anyway, if you're new to me, I'm Chapadong. I represent DFSArmy.com. I'm a content editor, coach, contributor, the whole ball of wax, jack of all trades, master of none. At DFSArmy.com, you can find my link down there in the comments section. Of course, coupon code CHOP triggers 20% off. Grandfathered in life of the membership. As long as you stay a member, your price never goes up. And I just really enjoy helping you guys build better lineups. We talk about it all day long in our coaching channels. I do these videos to share with the members as well as with you guys occasionally. Do some VIP only videos as well that really go into a little bit deeper concepts and a little bit more teaching type stuff. So if you enjoy this, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell so you get all the videos that I do and all the sports that I do, because we'll come back today. We'll do a PGA video probably, do an NHL video probably. I try to keep these things 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to shut up and dive into the player pool so that we don't chew up all of that time. As always, follow me out on Twitter as well at Chapadon. Let's dive into the player pool and assemble. What I've done is I've sorted the research station by the and one metric. And one's a catch-all metric, kind of measures home road splits, recency, field goal attempts, just everything, DVP, whatever. It's a whole big ball of wax weighted and measured and thrown in to create an overall strength rating, an overall matchup rating, saying this guy's in a great spot today on kind of a sliding scale from negative numbers all the way up to I've seen as high as 30 something. Generally over 10 is really, really good. We have data that over 11 tends to hit value. There's little bitty gaps in there where 16 to 20 suffer a little bit, and then over 20 does okay again, then over 23 starts to suffer a little bit. That's all generally due to pricing, because price may not factor into this, but the talent of the player, the higher talented players tend to be higher priced, I guess I should say. So that's just generally why I run with this metric first. When I'm trying to cut down a player pool, I'm trying to cut the fluff. I want to get rid of the turds. I want to just eliminate you right off the bat. And the way I do that is I will use this metric and I will take the top 5-ish at each position. On a short slate like today, we might only take, say, the top 4. So let's just use that as our parameter today. And let's kind of dive in. I'll go position by position by position, and I'll show you the other 2 metrics that I use to cut down a player pool. If you want to write this down, go ahead and carve out on a piece of paper point guard and then a shooting guard column, small forward column, power forward, center, etc. Don't worry about utility. Don't worry about that. That stuff will all come into play later. So we're first going to turn off the point guards or everything else but the point guards, but I want multi-position eligibility. So I'm going to go ahead and hold the control key down and click those 2 back on. For those of you that are members and know how to use this tool and you get to drive the race car yourself, that's what I'm doing. And I'm automatically looking here for things like drop-offs in the strength of matchup ratings. I'm looking for pricing differences here. I'm looking for big red suggesting that he's priced up here and he's cheaper over on FanDuel, most likely. I know it's green on when I look at the FanDuel side of things, it's green. And with DraftKings, they tend to do a little bit more matchup-based dynamic pricing. So I want to watch that price a little bit. When he's priced up on DraftKings, but not on FanDuel, I'll play him over on FanDuel and give him a little bit extra boost because he's a little bit more valuable over there, as indicated by another. I do consensus rankings where I'm looking at projections and I'm looking at other guys around the industry. And if they all rank him number 1, I'm going to take their word for it and say he's the number 1 point guard on the slate tonight. But then if all of a sudden he's priced way down on FanDuel, then I might use him there where he might be priced up and a little bit too expensive over on DraftKings. So that's typically how I use these types of things and just kind of looking at them more of a holistic view, kind of all inclusive all the way around. Not looking at ceiling and floor type stuff yet. So let's really quickly blow through those positions. Top 4, Westbrook, Lowry, Booker, Duncan. Okay. I'm not looking at point guard only. I'm looking at all of them. So now I'm going to go in, I'm going to turn off the point guards and I'm going to turn on the shooting guards. Right? I'm going to let that sort through and adjust. And when it catches up to me here, shoot, maybe it has. Booker, McCollum, Rose, Oubre. Those are my 4. I'd be careful of Oubre. Oubre's a little up and down type of player. Can have some good games, but can also really disappoint you. So small forward, there's 4 slots for those. Once those kick in, Kawhi Leonard, Doncic, George, Warren. Small forward is a really weird position. Sometimes it's really, really deep. Sometimes it's really, really shallow. So it's something to definitely watch this and one rating for, because the shallower that position gets, the more valuable those top strong rating guys are. Therefore, you should key in on them a little bit more or a little bit extra. Most people will tend to say, well, there's only one guy, and this is the old Gronk rule. You've heard me mention it. There's only one guy at tight end that can really blow up a game, and he's $8,000, and it's Gronk, so I can fade him and go with it. No, a lot of times that's when he's the most valuable guy at the position and should take Preston over it, because you just kicked everybody's ass at that position if he does what he's supposed to do. And they're fighting for you in other areas where you can go get value where they're spending up because the position is deeper and affording you more options. Okay, just a fundamental philosophy of daily fantasy sports called positional scarcity. Leonard, Doncic, George, and Warren, of course, make sure Leonard plays. So let's include Harrison Barnes in that as well. Let's kick over to the power forward spot. So off, on. Let that one slide in there. Kawhi, of course, valuable again. Ibaka, Paul George, TJ Warren, Siakam, because the orange guy here is Kawhi. Now we'll go off, and we'll just turn the centers on. And we've got another deeper position here. Karl Anthony Towns, Ibaka, Jordan, Siakam. Those are the guys that I'd be looking for, okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and turn these all the way back off. Hopefully you wrote all four of those guys down in each position. We're going to come over here. We're going to sort by value based on projections. You hear me mention this from time to time, but our projections at DFSArmy.com are second most accurate to only Fantasy Labs. And, you know, with us, you get all of the coaching and you get other tools and all the other sports, everything all combined, all wrapped into one. So the main thing is you're not going to talk to the big dogs over at those other sites. You get access to our best coaches the minute you're a member at DFSArmy.com. So that's where we separate ourselves completely from, generally from the rest of the pack, and that the interaction that you get between us and you is going to make you a better player. I hear it time and time again, testimonial after testimonial. Point guard value-wise. Now, why am I including value? Because we just focused on a bunch of studs. Sometimes value is going to have to come into play to save our bacon and be able to roster a handful of these guys. I'm going to try and get as many of the studs in my lineup as I possibly can without having to just punt everywhere else. It's going to be somewhat of a balanced lineup, but it's going to try and get as many of those upper tier 2, lower tier 1 type guys in the lineup as possible. And that's really what we're trying to use the value for. We only need a couple of spots of value. They're very inconsistent guys. I don't need typically 5 or 6 value guys in my lineup so that I can fit 4 studs in there, because those guys are oftentimes going to shit the bed. Dennis Smith, questionable. So Beverly, Lowry, Booker. Look at this. When Lowry and Booker start hitting and Doncic, these guys are all, and even Westbrook, these guys are all starting to hit that value list. Big sign. Big sign that these are very strong plays today. Not only are they projected to, got strong matchups and they're projected for high point values, but they've also got, they're priced pretty low compared to what they can do tonight. So these guys are, Beverly might be a pure value play, but somebody like a Lowry just got a bump. Booker just got a bump. Even Doncic and Westbrook, I'm going to keep in the back of my mind, even though I'm not writing them down. If they're already on my regular and one list, I put a little V next to their name. And if not, I can draw a little name under there and add a Beverly or somebody like that. And that way I'm keeping track of who's on one list, who's on 2 lists, and who's on all 3 lists. And if somebody's on all 3 lists, they're a core power play. I'll show you the third parameter here in a minute too. As soon as I get this stuff shifted over, we start looking at shooting guard type stuff. Bogdanovich, Beverly again, Booker, Oubre, maybe Wiggins. These are names I would write down. Booker's repeating again. Small forward. I almost need elevator music while we're waiting for this stuff to shift around. Bogdanovich, Kawhi Leonard pops in there. Aminu is going to pop in on this list. Parkless, maybe Oubre. These are the guys that I'm looking at. Nobody there was on the stud list, really, other than Kawhi. So again, I'm just holding the control key down while I'm clicking the blue on and off up here at the top to sort out the positional tiers. Rashawn Holmes, questionable. Make sure he's playing if you want to play him. Potential turd trap anyway. Kawhi Leonard, and then Ibaka, Bagley, Aminu, Harkless. So there's Harkless, Aminu, Ibaka, Leonard again. These are all names that we should be recognizing at this point as decent plays on the slate. These are, when they start repeating themselves again, let's not overthink it. The projection machine, the algorithms are telling us that we should be digging into our research a little bit and figuring out why these guys are such strong plays. Is it because they're just talented dudes? Is it because they are, priced way down for their role today? Is it because their ceiling is through the roof, their matchup is great, their DVP is great? What's the reason? We need to be digging into some of these parameters and figuring it out. That's generally the hard work and the homework that I ship you off to do. I'm just cutting your player pool down to about 30, 35 guys tops. Tonight is probably more like 25 to 30 guys. Holmes, DeAndre Jordan, Steven Adams, Karl Anthony Towns, a couple of these guys, obviously, like Ibaka, are going to have some power forward eligibility as well. But these are the guys I'd be keying on. Okay. Now, when I kick back through here, hopefully you wrote those guys down again. We're going to scroll over here to the who's hot, who's not. Because this is what I'm finding is kind of the linchpin to the system. It's nice to have a strong matchup. It's nice to be an underpriced player and be bringing value. But it's even better when you're playing really, really well lately, or in this case, getting minutes, getting usage, whatever, due to either a role change or something like that. Because that's what really triggers the value in DFS basketball, anyway, in NBA, is the pricing can't catch up to the role changing night to night to night. So if that role has changed and these guys are all of a sudden in outstanding positions, that's what you need to be looking for. So now, who's hot, who's not? Just your point guards again. Very interesting why. There, didn't have shooting guards in it. That's why. So what we're looking at here, we need to, there's your minute watch. Look at the minutes that Shai is getting over the last 3 games. 10 more minutes compared to his last 10. Now, this is a separate category. You could throw this in and make it a 4th category if you wanted to. It's very, very worthy of watching. It's going to identify some of that deeper value for you. I mean, 4,600 for Shai, getting 10 more minutes typically, and then he's going to hit these lists, the hot list, because he's getting more minutes, he's getting more points. See how that correlates? But you're looking at the guys with big point up, situations over their average, and that's Booker, Beverly, Crawford, Jalen Brunson, and maybe Shai, maybe Lillard even. Lillard probably isn't getting a minutes difference. See, not getting a minutes. He's just playing better. So that's how that one ends up working out. You put these 3 guys on the list. Beverly was on the value and the hot list. Booker was on all 3, I believe. So these are guys that, point guard wise, I'm not necessarily going to consider Booker a point guard, but he'd be somebody that I would consider throwing into the point guard spot tonight if I didn't value Lillard or Westbrook or somebody else as much. Because if I can get a couple of those all 3 category guys, the and one, value, and hot guys all on the same team, I'm going to try and put as many of them on my team as I can. And if that's at the expense of Lillard or Westbrook, hey, I've got a guard spot, I've got a utility spot, but I'm just trying to get these guys into as many positions as I possibly can find when they hit that core list. Here's a deeper position at shooting guard with a lot of guys, and this is a lot of times a flukier position that runs hot, runs cold. So these are the guys that are currently running hot. Miles, Matthews, Bradley, Booker. There's Booker again, of course. These are the guys that I'd be focused on. These are the guys I'd write little H's next to or whatever to denote them on my sheet so that I can slide them in and out of my lineups very, very quickly. So now we've got Kawhi Leonard, CJ Miles, Wes Matthews again, Tobias Harris. Harris has been on the list. Kawhi's been all over the list today. Kawhi's a 3 check mark player today, obviously. It's interesting because it tells me that if he plays and he's healthy, then he's in a phenomenal space. Very, very key to the slate tonight. Tobias Harris again, Quincy Acey, Layman, Dorian Finney-Smith. Interesting. These are the guys you're going to have to jump into and look at because, look, they're projected today for crap. They're projected for no minutes. Yet when I scroll over, they're running hot. So they've either had a role reduction or something creating a turd trap type of situation. So I would not write these guys necessarily. I might scratch them out. Come down here to somebody who's supposed to get some points like Paul George. Scroll over and see what Paul George has got going for him. 3.5 points over the last 3 games, higher than his last 10 games. That might be the guy. These others, this is why you've always got to be watching these things in conjunction. You don't just blindly follow any list. You're always evaluating the strength of that list. Does it make sense? Nurkic, AC, Motley, Taj Gibson. So not a lot to choose from here. So this, is not necessarily indicating really strong stuff. It is telling me Nurkic is probably a play. It's telling me that Booker is probably a play. It's telling me that Kawhi, if he's healthy, is probably a play. And these are the guys I'd probably be building around tonight as my core because they're supposed to bring value. They're supposed to score points. They've got a good matchup, and then they're running hot right now. They're playing well right now. They're capitalizing on their opportunity right now. So quickly, I don't know what we cut that player pool down. I wasn't writing down along with you. I'm going to take these though. I will write them down later today. I will then take them to the Domination Station Optimizer that we have here at DFSArmy.com, and I will then plug them in. I will uncheck all of the turds, everybody, and then I will go back and only add back in the guys in my player pool. And then I will start tweaking those value numbers using the projections, using the smiley faces, whatever it takes inside the DFS or inside the Domination Station, the DS as we call it. And I'm going to take some of these guys that are a 7x value. I'm probably going to bring that guy back down. If I can't find news on why that guy's great, I'm probably going to bring that guy back down because it's hard to predict a guy to hit 7x. I'd 5.5, fine. He's still going to pull in to the optimizer just fine at 5.5. But I'm going to try and get everybody kind of around that 5x mark that I like on my list. And then I'm going to let the Domination Station kind of mix them up and give me kind of the better opportunity for more of a balanced structure, more mix of more players. And then I'm going to start picking the guys that I like, the guys that impressed me through the statistics. I've shown that video a time or two, may do it again sometime soon, don't know. But either way, hopefully this type of stuff helps you. Hopefully you've got a DraftKings player pool. You do the same thing on FanDuel. It works just the same. Doesn't take as long because you've got fewer position eligibilities to worry about. And hopefully this gets you pointed in the right direction to where you at least cut down the number of players that you need to research today. You've got it down to kind of the best of the best, and then you can split the hairs from there. You can look into who's the chalk, who should I pivot off of, and whatever. And don't go overboard with that kind of stuff in basketball. Maybe a play here, a play there. The idea is to get a very solid core, get yourself to the min cash line, and then let one or two key plays push you over the top. Like maybe you didn't play Ben Simmons last night, but instead you had Klay Thompson, and the next thing you know, you dodged a little bit of a dud, and you got Klay Thompson's big game last night. That's the kind of stuff that pushes you over the top in those GPPs. It isn't all about hitting 10x value plays. It isn't all about fading the chalk at every possible turn. It's about sensibly having a core of solid players that get you to the dance, and then having that one or two key players at lower ownership that push you over the top. All right. Hey, this is your buddy Choppadong again. Click the link, dfsarmy.com, use coupon code CHOP, hit the like, subscribe button, share me out on Twitter, follow me on Twitter, share me out on Twitter, whatever you want to do. I appreciate all of the feedback that I've been getting. I love interacting with you guys inside our coaching channels. Come in there, talk to me. Let's talk a little bit more fundamental DFS in any sport that you want to play. If I don't know the answer, I can direct you to the guy who knows the right answer, and I can make you a better player. So let's get started, man. Jump on in here, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Take care.